Hi, this is Mike Spokane, the leader and the founder of Church Governance Solutions. Today I want to speak about uh, basic things to note when inviting conference guest speakers. I want to speak about some few things that you need to note when you are inviting conference guest speakers. And you'll realize that we've been embarking on this topic of of conference over the past 2 days or so. And I want to just speak about what you look at, what the things that you need to note when you are inviting guest speakers for your conference. And this very important topic that we need to look at, because there are many people that are struggling to actually work out on what to do when they're inviting guest speakers. And I believe this is going to help you as we deal with this topic, and it will help you with your next conference coming. And please sit back and listen and learn out of this, and for your next conference as you will be embarking on one. The first thing that you need to look at when you're inviting guest speakers is you must ensure you know the guest speakers personally, or else you are referred to them by a very credible person or very credible individual that you trust. The reason why I'm emphasizing this one is because I've seen people and leaders, of course, that would invite somebody to a conference to come and speak, somebody that they don't know at all, somebody that they've never met, somebody that they've never had speaking before, and they invite this particular individual to become a guest speaker in their conference, only to be disappointed by the presentation of the person. And sometimes there are people that are speaking at a distance, you've never known them, but you invite them only to find that you'll be disappointed by their character, how they approach. They will come to a church as they come in to speak in a conference, only to come and control you, only to come and bully you in your own conference, only to come and undermine you in front of your own people, in front of your own congregation. We have seen these things happening before. And sometimes we really only open our eyes when it happens. But it's things that we need to know in advance, because if you're going to invite anybody for your conference to come and speak, you need to know this person very well, clearly so that you can be able to know what to expect and as they come to your conference. We have seen people as well that would come for your conference. You've invited them, book them in a hotel to go and stay there, only to do things that you don't expect from them. You don't expect from a guest speaker to do. Somebody would actually invite your own members and spend nights with them in that hotel room that you've booked for them. So in other words, when you look at it, you realize that you've shot yourself on the foot, because you've called a wolf that will actually be stealing from your sheep when they come. So in other words, you have actually invited somebody who will come and kill your ministry, and you were not aware of that. And we have seen these things happening, and I must really emphasize that you must be very careful. You must know people that you invite. You must have been referred to these people by a very credible person or individual that you trust, somebody that you know. When they say this is the right person, you know that's the right person. There are those people that you invite in a conference and you didn't know them well, and you've had maybe a clip of their preaching once, and only to find that that was just a 1 minute wonder or 1 day wonder of that particular sermon, but they cannot deliver in big stage conferences where they cannot actually speak to articulate your theme, to deliver to what you expect them to do, or to meet the objectives that you invited them to come and deliver. And I'm saying this because this from experience. I've seen people that have invited people to come and speak in their conferences only to regret thereafter. So you don't need to go too far next door to you, or even in a church you might have experienced this. But we speak in this because they need to be corrected. We need to really sort out things much more earlier. Let us be able to know the individuals that we're inviting in our conferences. The other thing is select your speakers according to best fit for your theme of the conference. So in other words, if you're going to choose somebody to come and speak about leadership, it must be people that are au fait with the topic of leadership. It must be people that are within that as a calling, or rather as an area of expertise to speak about leadership. I've seen people invite people into their conferences to come and speak about topics that are totally away or not related to their calling. And that makes it problematic, because you're having somebody that you squeezing them at a corner of a place where they cannot speak about the topic. But what I've realized as well is speakers never say, I cannot. Speakers never say, this is not my preferable topic or a topic of my expertise. They never say. And people will actually take any theme that you put and give them, and they would come and try their best to try to minister according to that, only to find that they're doing you disservice or injustice, basically, because they cannot deliver to the maximum of what you expect, and they cannot meet the objectives of your conference. And that's disappointing. But unfortunately, nobody will tell you. But I must really say that sometimes people don't say, I don't know this topic, because people are desperate to be invited. We have seen people that are very desperate to be invited. Some are desperate to be invited, particularly for financial reasons, because they want the envelope, they want to be paid, they want actually the honorarium that they're given when they come in to preach. The people that are desperate to that level. And I want to emphasize that be careful. And the people that you invite, please make sure that there's somebody who specializes in that particular topic if you want a proper delivery of your theme, towards your theme, so that you can actually get better results on your theme and get somebody who will actually speak to the topic to the T, so that everybody can gain out of it. That's very key and very important. Budget well for the speakers, and considering traveling distance as well, and because it's very important on looking at where people are coming from. So if you're going to invite people that are coming a distance away, you must actually consider that those people will travel, those people will use petrol, those people will be coming from far. So it is not going to be the same like somebody who's coming from locally. And therefore, when you look at your honorarium, think that way and say, this one is coming from a distance, so therefore the honorarium that you give them should actually be affecting their travel as well. It must be affecting their distance that they've traveled, because that will be the only fair way to do. If there's somebody who came walking because they're just locally, it cannot be the same like somebody's coming from 500 kilometers away. So you need to really be rational in your plan for speakers. But what I want to emphasize in this regard is the budgeting in advance, because we have seen ministers or visionaries that invite people for conferences, but yet they trusting or they believing that they will get the money of blessing the people from the offering of the people that are coming, only to find that they're disappointed because people come and not give, or even sometimes it's a conference that is not well attended, and as a result there are no financial gains in the sense of offering. So therefore, when you are inviting people, budget in advance. Let the money for speakers be available well in advance. And don't trust and believe that you'll get an offering that will be enough to carry through your conference. Make sure that you're having the money ready, and the money is there actually to be able to support your conference and to be able to give honorarium to your speakers, and you don't rely on offering. This is very important. Budget well in advance. Avoid inviting people from far if someone closer can deliver to the theme better, unless, of course, if it is a friendship-based invite, because there are those of you who invite people because of friendships. So therefore, you're going to go all your way, invite somebody from very, very far with a topic that is as easy as anybody around could actually minister. I always advise ministers and pastors that you could actually even use your own local pastor, your own assistant pastor, to address some of the topics. So in other words, there's no problem in using one of your guests, in one of your assistant pastors rather, to be somebody who speaks in that conference, or even yourself. You could actually stand up and address one of the days or two of the days. It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, what we want out of a conference is the delivery to the objective of the conference, to be able to articulate something that you want to articulate to the people and let the people learn out of it. So it is actually not worthwhile to invite somebody from far who may not even do justice to the topic, even if they were to do justice to the topic. But comparatively speaking, if you're going to spend much more for a topic that can be addressed internally or can be addressed by somebody local, so rather consider inviting somebody local. And of course, as I say, unless if you are inviting somebody for friendship reasons, because there are those invitations that are based on friendships, not necessarily that the person is going to deliver. And we know that, and it's actually something that's very common in many churches where people invite each other based on friendships, not necessarily because one is going to deliver according to the theme of the conference. Now, try to keep it to fewer quality speakers than a crowd of irrelevant guest speakers. And this is a very crucial one, because sometimes everybody would love to have many speakers. But I must really say that sometimes when you invite many speakers, especially when they're irrelevant, you are going to dilute actually the effect of what they could do in that conference. And that is the reason why I would recommend, as Church Governance Solutions leader, that when you invite people, invite few people that are quality. That may take 2-3 days of the conference, instead of out of 7 days. Instead of inviting 7 people, you could actually easily invite 3 people and maybe share days to them. The two do maybe 2 days, 2 days, and then the other one does 3, or maybe you could actually easily do it 3 days, 3 days each, and maybe 1 day is yourself. Then you're having maybe 2 speakers that come to address the conference. And the reason why it becomes even more pertinent to invite fewer people is because you're giving them platform to actually dig deeper. You're giving them a platform actually to expand on the topic, to be able to break it into parts that is a chunk that is chewable or that is absorbable, because it's very important that you don't overload people with a speaker that will come and speak the whole night because he's coming or she's coming only for 1 day and then want to deliver everything for long hours, instead of breaking it into maybe 2-3 sermons. That will be actually even more easy for the members to concentrate and to be able to learn out of that. So it's very important, therefore, that your invitation actually be focused on fewer speakers instead of many speakers that may even be irrelevant for your own conference. And that's something that we need to address as well. Allocate days of conference based on the theme. That is, some themes may be addressed in 1 day. I'm sure you know that. Others can be addressed in 3 days, while others may need a week actually to address. So in other words, just your conference itself, as you put it up, the best thing is to look at what the theme is all about. And that's what is going to make you to decide on how many days the conference would be. Because some of the themes, as I say, they could be run in a seminar form in 1 day. Some of the themes may be run over a weekend, maybe 3 days, and some of them may need a week. Because there are some themes that if you stretch it for a week, you find that on the 3rd day already everybody has exhausted the theme to an extent that everybody is now rounding at one point. They cannot actually expand anymore. They cannot actually go deeper anymore about it. So it's actually it's exhausted. Is the theme exhausted? So there's nothing else that people are going to say. And that is why such conferences should be shorter rather than longer. And that's very key. And I want to also maybe close by saying, clarify to your guest speakers clear objectives of your conference as you've given them the theme. So please be clear as well what you want to achieve out of this conference. And as you do so, you're basically helping them to focus particularly on things that you want to address so that they can actually do justice to your conference. I want to end up here today, your host, Mike Connor Spokane. Thank you very much for listening to us and be part of this great conference. May I remind you as well to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click on that notification button as well to be reminded of every video that we post. But also just to remind you that we have our page, Church Governance Solutions. So please be invited there and join that group and be able as well to follow us in our teachings that we address in this regard. May the good Lord bless you and allow me to say cheers for now.